Guys, I think she's just wearing plaid because it's fall.
All right, well, that takes away one of our questions. But she wore it a lot during the rep era. Come on.
Didn't you see these photos? That's Sarah Chappelle, creator of the popular fashion blog Taylor Swift Style and the expert in Taylor Swift fashion.
Sarah has been covering Taylor since 2011, breaking down every wardrobe detail for over 100,000 readers and over 300,000 Instagram followers. In this episode, we talked to Sarah about her journey covering Taylor's style throughout the years, how she figures out what Taylor is wearing so quickly, and of course, her brand new book, Taylor Swift Style, Fashion Through the Eras, that comes out on October 8th.
There's always this authentic Taylorness that is apparent in like everything that she does that just keeps this recognizability factor to her fashion, regardless of the shifting of the era and the time. It's giving, I will never change, but I will never stay the same.
Welcome to Hits Differently. I'm Ryan, and that's Molly, and we're so stoked to have Sarah on the pod today.
Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a single episode where we clown, break down, and cover all things Taylor. Also, please go support Sarah. Her website is taylorswiftstyle.com. Her Instagram handle is taylorswiftstyled, style with a D. And of course, pre-order her book. All of that information will be linked in the description below. Here's Sarah. Welcome, Sarah Chappelle. We are so glad to have you here on Hits Differently. We cannot wait to get our hands on your beautiful book, Taylor Swift Style. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate you thinking of me for this opportunity, and I can't wait to dive in and chat.
Of course, we're so honored to have you.
We've been following you for a long time, as most Swifties have been, and we were just honored that you answered our email.
Oh, that's really sweet. I appreciate that.
So to start it off, we like to do a little rapid fire, just, so that we can learn a little bit about some of your favorite Taylor things.
Oh my gosh. Like my heart rate, like I'm wearing a watch and I'm like, did it go up? Yeah, just a little bit.
It's to lower the heart rate, so, shake it off.
I know sometimes we're like, these are easy questions, but for actually a lot of Swifties, sometimes these can be hard to answer. So the first one, what's your favorite Taylor Swift song?
Tim McGraw.
Oh, wow. She was quick. Favorite album?
Debut.
Favorite music video?
Blank Space.
Favorite era for fashion?
1989.
Favorite of Taylor's Eras Tour stage costumes?
Lover.
Oh.
Favorite red carpet look of Taylor's?
Can we bring it down to 2024?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. The Golden Globes.
The green.
Hello. Like, you understand.
We were just talking about that before he got on.
The green. We love the green too. And last one, your favorite item that you've bought because Taylor wore it.
I have her powder blue Liberty boots, like the cowboy boots.
Ooh.
Like the ones that are like say Taylor Swift on them, but like the ones from the brand say like Love and Peace on them.
Oh my gosh, that's so unique.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, you survived your rapid fire. It wasn't that bad.
You did that so good. I don't think I've ever seen someone so like ready to go.
Yeah, usually just favorite song, people are like, ah.
Favorite album, I can't pick one.
That one's helpful to have in my back pocket because an intense nostalgic attachment to that time in that era. It's when I became a fan. So that one is like always a definitive sure thing. If you had told me like you can't pick your nostalgic baby favorite, then like it would have been a three-way tie. So I get it. Yeah.
A three-way tie between what other songs?
Well, albums. It would have been Reputation, Red, and Evermore.
Ooh.
Oh.
Good batch.
So good. Well, that leads us into our very first question, which is, we know you've been following Taylor since debut, especially after those rapid fire answers, but how did you first become a Swiftie?
I first became a fan of Taylor's music in 2006 when I was illegally downloading music on LimeWire.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Oh, we know.
We know.
as one did in the early aughts, just downloading music and also like viruses that would infect your desktop computer. And I was in the country music section and I saw a song called Our Song. And I was like, that's a weird name for a song. Cool, I'll bite. And then I downloaded it. And then I saw that there was a song called Tim McGraw by the same artist. And I was like, that's also weird. Super notable because Tim McGraw is like the biggest country music artist right now. So why would somebody name a song after him? And I downloaded those and the rest is history.
That's incredible. That's such a fun story because I know like we're late bloomers and a lot of other people are. So it's really cool to hear that you know, from day one, LimeWire debut.
That's fun. Wait, what's your origin story?
We're both 1989 girlies. Like, we listened to Taylor before that, obviously, like intermittently, but just kind of, it never really like stuck until 1989. Not Taylor's version, the original came out, and then the rest was history from there. So,
I mean, isn't it wild to think about, like, you're describing yourself as a late bloomer, but at this point in time, like 1989 was almost a decade ago. And
I was just thinking
like
that
the early halfway point of her discography as we know it.
I know.
So
right.
I know. I was literally like read my mind, and some people are just now coming on. So yeah, I guess there's like mid bloomers. Come on when you come on, you know.
I think it's like depending on your age, but your brain kind of gets frozen at a certain year, where the year 2000 is like, that was like 5 years ago. but
yes.
it was like 24 years ago. I think, yeah, there are these like mass entry points into her discography, and 1999 was definitely one for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yes, she cut her hair into that bob and it was game over for the rest of us.
Did you cut your hair into the bob?
I didn't, but I did have bangs then, across the forehead bangs.
I had a lob. Which I guess, you know, it's like kind of similar, but you mentioned being into that fashion era, and it's definitely a top one for me.
I just have a lot of like personal memories in documenting that period of time. It was such in terms of volume, a crazy time to be documenting her fashion, which is why I just think of it with a lot of fondness, because it really felt like I was hitting my stride when it came to blogging and documenting her style. It was like a pivotal like test point for blogging.
What inspired you to start the blog originally?
As established, I was like already a fan of Taylor and her music at that time, and I started the blog in October 2011 when I was studying to become a journalist. I was in university seeking my bachelor's in journalism. I felt like I wanted or was craving this space to basically intersect all of my main interests, which was, you know, at the time fashion and style, and kind of wanting to get into the fashion magazine world, obviously Taylor and her music, and then kind of trying to learn how to express myself and figure out my own identity with what I was wearing as, you know, like a young person in their early 20s. And I was also treating blogs like they were my daily newspaper. Even to this day, like I still hit up certain blogs and I'll read them with like a cup of coffee as if it's like an editorial, like online newspaper. And I wanted to make a space that I felt the same way about, but for my own. And Taylor Swift style just became this intersection of the things that I loved the most. And I hoped that it could be this place where I could find people who had the same kind of niche within a niche interest of like within Taylor Swift's fandom, like how many people like were interested also in her style, and then also interested in finding and learning about like the nuanced and the context and the deeper meanings behind her fashion. So like this Russian doll, Russian nesting doll of like interest, or like a Venn diagram of fandom. And that's basically what the blog became.
Your social media accounts and your blog are regularly updating us on what Taylor is wearing, whether that's at an awards show, going out to dinner. I assume that means you have to stay on high alert all the time for when she might step out. What's your process like when Taylor appears in a new outfit?
This is one of the most asked questions that I get, and I don't really know how to describe it because I feel like with most things, like most creative things, the process is highly unglamorous, like decidedly unglam. The process of what it looks like fashion blogging is me curled over my laptop like a shrimp with my face about an inch away from my screen, trying to decipher like the most minute of details so I can tell the difference between one pair of jeans and another pair of jeans. So it's just this like very unsexy thing, but it, you know, takes advantage of research skills and attention to detail skills. that, you know, I've honed over a decade of doing this. So the process is really just like mostly a benefit from having done a lot of research and a lot of practice in doing this for the last 13 years. My eye has started to acclimate, and you can just sort of tell the differences between brands just by sight. So like a certain pocket emblem might look different, or, you know, obviously like a Louboutin heel is like a really easy thing for most people to spot, because it's a very clear house code to that designer. But things like that that you just kind of acquire through having this very focused lens on the fashion world and what makes a fashion designer's, you know, signatures.
Sometimes she's out and about like every day. And do you have to like stop down your life? How do you manage your time and keep up with Taylor?
It's really hard because I want to obviously be on it. Maybe people can relate. There's like a certain aggressive people pleasing desire to be like, if I don't get on it quickly, I'm going to disappoint people. And you know, there's a part of my brain that says that that is fact and that is true. And so I do my best to be as, you know, fast as possible, while also it's important to lead a life not captured by digital confines and going out for walks and like spending quality time with my husband and trying to be softer and more gentle on myself. And realizing that it's okay if it can wait an hour or 2 hours, and that's easier said than done. I have definitely previously, you know, been out to dinner with a friend and been like, I'm so sorry, this is over. I must dash. So there have definitely been situations like that. One thing that I will say that's been nice is that football games have a schedule. They are on the calendar, and that's nice. So I'm not above having put every single Kansas City Chiefs game into my calendar and blocked it off like it's a work day, which is nice.
Same. That very first game, though, were you like, oh my gosh?
I think I was just like, okay, this is happening. Buckle up. Like, this is the new reality. Okay. He did it. Happy for him. Like,
right?
Like, it's also really interesting reacting to Taylor things in real time, because I'm of two minds about it, and I have to kind of shut off the fan mind that wants to have like a personal human reaction, like me as a person, because the job person takes over, where it's like, okay, a new assignment, go. Like, it takes me longer to absorb and understand things, because that part of me often takes a backseat to accepting a new fashion assignment and like, okay, there's a task, there's a job to do. I've got to do this now. I guess I'm finding a white tank top and like the Chiefs jacket now.
Yeah, like the jacket was probably easy to find. The tank top, probably not so much, I would guess.
The tank top was surprisingly okay, because I think she'd worn like Doan recently. So, and it looked like very Doan-y because of the little like eyelet trim on the tank. But yeah, also attending these games and having logos is helpful.
With all of your research that you're doing, how are you building all this context and background about these designers and these items? For example, with her recent VMAs appearance in the plaid, we were so interested in your post about the Mary Queen of Scots and the stitching inside the clothing and things like that. We're like, how are you finding out that information?
Just research. I mean, I think part of the job is, you know, being attuned to latest runways, latest designer news, when new collections come out, keeping attuned to those things. So just lots of research. It's there. But I'm delighted and happy to contextualize and condense those things within the focal point and the lens that is Taylor's music and Taylor's fashion. Because sure, that may have been something that like Maria Grazia Curie like thought of for her collection, but like, what does that mean within the context of like Taylor? And why would she wear it? So that like additional next step is very fun for me. So thanks for reading that. I think of like that caption was very long. So
We literally got chills when we got to the end, and it was like, doesn't this sound like in the death of her reputation, she felt truly alive? We're like, mic drop.
Yeah,
In my
end lies my beginning. I'm like, your knowledge of all of it is wildly fascinating to me. And it's crazy, like, reading your words, because it's like, she's not trying to put an Easter egg, because we also, you know, we're big clowns for what Taylor's doing next, no matter what it is. So it's like, you weren't like intentionally putting it in there, but at the same time, like, the knowledge that you know just ties it all together, because Taylor's putting Easter eggs in her clothes, and it's just such a cool, like, melding of the worlds.
Thanks. I think that there are degrees of egg. There is like a sliding scale of validity of egg, if that makes sense. Like, there are some things where I'm like, guys, I think she's just wearing plaid because it's fall.
All right, well, that takes away one of our questions.
What?
But she wore it a lot during the rep era. Come on.
What? Didn't you see these photos?
Is it interesting and notable that she's wearing snakeskin boots? Yeah, like, that's like, I think you can draw certain conclusions. Whether she's just, you know, intentionally, deviously misleading us on purpose is like another thing. But is the egg there for interpretation? Yeah, I'd argue that it's there. Other things like are less egg.
If I had knowledge of fashion, I would never sleep, because the deep dives I go down for no reason, like, because I just want it to exist, I would never sleep. I'm glad my knowledge of, like, the eggs is limited, because keeps me in check, you know?
An egg diet, like a self-imposed egg diet.
Right. Like, I'm over here doing math, like I'm a mathematician, and I'm terrible at math. So, you know?
I mean, that's why you probably went to journalism.
Yeah. Because we're all bad at math.
I'm over here.
Ryan's like, she held up the however many numbers during 22. And I'm like, but how long have we been paying attention to that?
Listen,
not long enough
okay, a lot
to
of
know
people
a
like that
pattern.
video, okay? Because they're clowns like me.
I feel like I'm not fun sometimes, where I'm just like I'm glad that I observe other people having that kind of fun, and I'm like, am I not fun? I'm a fun person. But like, I just do not engage in the honk honk beep beep of it all. But I'm glad that there are people who do and derive joy from that.
It's for the best, honestly. So we want to talk about your book.
Yes, we want to talk about the book now. We've talked about the blog, we've talked about the social media captions, how amazingly detailed they are, and all of that has now led to the book. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. That's really kind.
The gold foil, the green spine. We're so excited to get our hands on it.
Yay! Thanks.
It's beautiful.
What inspired you to take this accumulation of like a decade's worth of your passion and start putting it into a book?
To say that this has been, you know, a lifelong, far-flung dream is kind of an understatement. I can recall from like grade school when you get asked like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And like, there's always that girl who's like, marine biologist, veterinarian. And I would write author. And so for this literal dream to finally be here, it feels unreal. It feels crazy. And this is so weird to say. I feel like it's very difficult to talk kindly about yourself and to like own your shit. It just feels very foreign to do that. But I feel uniquely qualified to be this, you know, source on her style as like a journalist and also a recorder for fashion history, and also as somebody who really is a true fan, not a passing fan. And it doesn't even matter how long I've been a fan. It's just that the trueness of how I feel about her music and how much it's impacted me in my personal life as a human being. I just feel like all of those things I hope come across in this book, which, if like I need to describe it, is this definitive journey of her style and her music over the last nearly 2 decades of her career. And it's really a extension of, you know, the blog and the Instagram, and it's all the things that I would hope that people would expect and associate with Taylor Swift style. But it's not just, you know, the exact details of her clothes and what she wore when, but also, you know, offering context and commentary and offering to go a little bit deeper and exploring like the intention behind every outfit. And obviously more than that, but I think it's packaged in like this stunning little coffee table book that I think is beautiful. Like, the gold foil is just incredible in person, and I hope people love it. and it's out October 8th.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will love it. Being a true fan, I feel like that makes it so much more meaningful. It's like, because you're not just someone who's like, I just want to write about like Taylor's fashion. You're like, this is coming from a deep personal place, and then mixing that with your love for fashion as well. I know that you often reference writing with critical kindness when it comes to like expressing your opinions on fashion and Taylor's style. And can you just tell us a little bit more about what critical kindness is and how that's incorporated into your work?
I think that I adopted this ethos somewhere along the way because I felt like not only in fashion specifically, but also often in internet and fandom spaces, it becomes the default to be mean or to be like decidedly catty in a fun way, this gleeful cruelty. And that's just not really the vibe that I want. In the same, tone, one half is, to be kind, but the other half is, I think we should all be permitted to have opinions and to have thoughts. And sometimes those thoughts aren't positive or adoring, but we should still be allowed to feel those things and air them out and be able to conduct ourselves in a manner where we can kindly disagree on things. I think a lot of people want that. And I think a lot of people crave that. And I think when you put that energy out into the world, those people like a boomerang will like find you and they will come. That is what I've, fingers crossed, done and created in this space, is a place to, air differences of opinion, but in a way that I think is more than just, that's ugly, but why do you not like it? And it's okay that you don't, but what elements of it aren't for you necessarily, because those exact same things that you don't like might be something that I'm super into. And that also, goes for her music. I mean, what's your least favorite Taylor song?
Me?
Okay. Low-hanging fruit, but okay.
Okay.
I knew you were going to say that one too, Ryan. She's going to say me. She's going to say me.
Let's go for something more controversial here. Come on. I know that, pull it out. Dig it out. I know that you've got it.
I mean, I don't know my least
Molly
favorite.
loves all of her music, so... Okay,
yeah, but Ryan calls me No Skip Molly.
Literally. I'm like, Molly's not the person to ask.
Okay, I have a controversial one.
Okay, go.
It's not my least favorite. That's harsh. But
blah, blah, blah. Get to it.
a song that I do not like as much as other people is Lover.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I always
why?
felt the anxieties with that song.
Okay. Okay. I understand that. Ryan, you're still sticking with me.
So, no, I changed it because I remember when it came out, I'm not as passionate about disliking it now, but when it first came out, Slut, one of the Vault tracks.
Oh, yeah.
There was a whole thing. Molly knows, she had to hear about it for days about...
I was trying to fight the fight for Slut.
And looking back, I'm like, why was I so offended by... I wasn't offended by it, but I had expectations for it before it came out because we saw the track list and I was all excited for it. And my expectations tend to ruin things for me. And I wish I didn't have any, going into anything. Now it's not my favorite song, but I'm not like, oh, I don't like this song. But I was in the beginning.
I think some people, fall into that trap, that self-made trap of envisioning something in your head. And then when it doesn't come to fruition and it's like, well, these are the consequences of my actions.
I'm now disappointed.
and I don't like it.
Yeah.
So anyway, but my point is that somebody's all-time favorite Taylor song, I guarantee you, someone in this fandom, their favorite Taylor song is Slut.
Oh yeah, we've seen comments.
Lover.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think more than, finding myself turned off by that, I think that's so cool that an artist can have such breadth that somebody's least favorite song is somebody else's. That song saved me. That song touched me. That song found me in a place when I needed it most. And it's that is so cool. That's so cool. Somebody out there loves Seven, and it's that person is not me, but I...
my husband.
I was like, wait, I love Seven. Oh, Seven slander.
Somebody out there loves Seven. Somebody out there loves Robin, and that person is not me. And that is totally fine.
Good current example.
I don't have a child, so Robin does not hit like it does for a lot of people, or never grow up. I'm like, well, if I had a child, I would get it, maybe. But
somebody out there loves Starlight, and that person is not me.
I think that's
But
a really
that is great.
how you like framed all that. Like, I want to get to that mindset. Just because I don't like it and I am personally offended for no absolute reason, no reason at all. You like it. Why does that affect me? Why does that matter? So
What's
no.
the most offensive thing that somebody could say to you?
I mean, anything that I'm already insecure about, for sure. Like, anytime someone says something that I'm thinking about internally about myself, it's like like a classic where you're like, oh my God, so it must be true. They said it. So therefore, all of that is
somebody
now
else
real.
perceives this flaw that I once was able to convince myself that only I cared about. But if somebody else is bringing it to my attention, then oh my God, everybody knows.
Yes.
Exactly.
You're like, because people always tell you like, oh, all those thoughts in your head, you're the only one thinking this. And then someone's like, I think it too. And you're like, oh, what?
I specifically more meant like if somebody walked up to you and was like, this song sucks.
Yeah, Ryan, what if someone was like, yeah, Tolerate It should have been cut from the set list? What would you say?
Yeah, I would be hurt deeply.
Yeah, I'm talking more like specifically like
Sarah's like, I'm talking about Taylor, and I'm like,
yeah, I was like, on this Taylor Swift podcast, I was actually talking about Taylor, but if you want to talk about, childhood wounds, we can do that too. This is a safe space.
Ryan went deep. You brought up 7, and now Ryan's deep.
I was like, Molly's like, where are we going with this? And I'm like, all right. Sarah, you're too good at this. Stop it.
Sorry, I was more thinking like, yeah, like this is the worst Taylor Swift album, and you'd be like, that is not true.
Yeah, if someone came for reputation, I mean, I would just, but I mean, I wouldn't like unfriend them. I would just question their taste. But again, I don't want to be like that. So I really respect your mentality about all of that. And especially as someone who talks about Taylor's attire, it's like you really have to learn how to finesse that.
I'm working on being a better person.
Yeah.
Personal growth.
Her plaid skirt with snakeskin boots recently was interesting to me. It was interesting. I don't know anything about fashion. I just thought that was interesting.
And it did not work for you, and that is fine.
Yeah, I would wear either individually, but maybe not together. And I think that's what makes Taylor's fashion so relatable, as I know you have written about a lot, that a lot has changed for Taylor over the years with her fashion. But one thing that's stayed the same is her relatability.
Completely. One of many things about the book that I hope like it captures in, this singular, condensed, compendium, this definitive journey of her style is that you're not only able to see the evolution of an artist, from era to era as she's creating and crafting this visual legacy that, pinpoints who she is and what album she's writing at that specific period of time, but also, the similarities, the pure, like, kind of essence that is Taylor, like, that's present throughout the whole thing and that you're able to see. And I think that that's something that she does so effectively and so well with her fashion is that you're able to, plot points in her career and in her life based on her fashion, based on her makeup, based on her hair especially. But there's always this authentic Taylorness that is apparent in like everything that she does that just keeps this relatability factor, that keeps this recognizability factor to her fashion regardless of, the shifting of the era and the time. It's giving, like, I will never change, but I will never stay the same either. Yeah, I think that's one thing that she does very masterfully with her style and very intentionally too.
Is there a specific era that you're most excited for Swifties to read your take on in the book?
One thing that was deeply personal about writing this book is that I was writing a lot of it as Taylor was doing the re-records project. And so as she was going back through her archives and like reclaiming these past versions of herself and like going through her diary pages and like reliving the feelings and the experiences of those, first albums, I was going through the archives of my blog and I was reading the captions that I first wrote or like the way that I would have cropped like a photo or, posted about a certain thing. And so it was like, as she was going through her past selves, I was going through all my past selves from documenting her past selves. And it was just this like very intensely personal and like very intensely meta experience in doing this. And I think with her music and her fashion that really hits me hard is that they're art forms in different ways, but they both do this thing where they anchor you to a certain place in time where like I can remember the first time that I heard Dear John. Like I can remember where I was. I can remember the feelings that I was first feeling. Similarly, like I can remember the first time I saw like Taylor walk out onto the streets of New York wearing a crop top. Like I can remember that moment.
Iconic.
The way that music and her fashion like both act as this way of like anchoring you in a point of time, like anchoring her in a point of time. But then as I'm consuming her art, it also anchors me in my memories and in a point of time, which is all to say, like I was most touched, shockingly, when I was writing this book, writing about the Speak Now chapter, which is just especially trigger warning, incoming unpopular opinion. Speak Now is like not my favorite Taylor album.
Okay.
That's okay.
It's just like, it just typically lands like towards the bottom. Red gets a lot of, the spotlight for like being this, big, huge heartbreak album. It's like the crash from this huge, devastating breakup. But I think Speak Now, there was just a lot of like tenderness and like this fractured moment of being caught between girlhood and womanhood and being on the precipice of that, and also being on the edge of like adult relationships and adult feelings and navigating like some adult experiences maybe like a little too early. And there was just something about that was like, oh, I just want to protect her. I just want to hold her. I just want to hug her and tell her like it's going to be okay. So like writing that particular chapter brought up a lot of emotions for me that I did not expect. And I loved writing that chapter a lot. So that's one.
I feel like with Speak Now, too, it's like now that we're kind of at the age of some of the people who might have inflicted heartbreak on her and can see it from that perspective, it's like, whoa. We were lucky enough to get Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda as one of our surprise songs at the Eras tour. And it's just like screaming, give me back my girlhood. It was mine first. Just like.
It hits a...
Just puts a whole new meaning on Speak Now.
Yeah.
It really does. And I think, in the re-records and then also like as her discography kind of progresses far enough away from those pain points where she can look back on them and reflect on them through different emotional lenses. I hope that that's kind of also what the book does, is that it provides, fans with this, like newer fans, like an opportunity to like go back and like look at her visual legacy while also, giving older fans a walk down our memory lane of like, oh yeah, like I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that. I hope that there's something like in it for everyone.
It's such a perfect time for the release of the book as we approach the end of the Eras tour, and like I feel like it's such a good compliment to like I know. I'm like, actually it ends in December allegedly. I don't know, like that's what she says, but
I keep telling Ryan she said from her own mouth it ends in December.
I'm like, but she might be like, okay, well now it ends never. I don't know, but yeah, I think your book will be a really great compliment to the ongoing tour.
I think it's also, there's just so many compounding kismety things happening this year. Like obviously the book is coming out October 8th, available for pre-order now. And the 13th anniversary of the blog is a few days later.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
That's amazing.
And the Eras tour is allegedly ending in my backyard. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. And so there's just a lot of like emotional things in like the next few months that just feel so wild to be experiencing.
So perfectly aligned.
Yeah.
So perfectly aligned.
Planets and the stars, etc.
She did it for you. She's like, Sarah's in Vancouver. That's where I've got to finish this tour.
Yeah. What a wild thing for this tour to allegedly be ending.
Do you have tickets?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is incredible. We have pre-ordered the book. I can't wait to get it. I feel like it's the perfect gift for any Swiftie.
Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah. I mean, I think it's like also kind of in terms of timing, kind of being perfectly positioned for, holiday gifts or birthday gifts or, if you could not gift somebody in your life an Eras tour ticket, here is a more affordable and beautifully packaged option to walk through the eras of her, style and existence. So I think the support has been just wonderful, and I appreciate you guys wanting to bring me on to talk about this book. Officially coming out October 8th. It'll be available wherever books are sold: Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, local indies, all the places. Support means so much. First week sales especially are incredibly helpful in pursuing an audacious dream of having this little book be a bestseller, possibly. So it would mean a lot. But otherwise, I'm on TaylorSwiftStyle.com, TaylorSwiftStyle, on Instagram. And I have a newsletter that I post to twice a week on Substack.
Amazing. Yes, in case anyone doesn't know, much like Taylor's music, when you order album pre-sales and she breaks records, it's the same for books. All of the pre-sales count towards first week sales that you can get on that New York Times bestseller list. I feel like if anyone can do that for you, it is the Swifties.
Swifties
we
got
have to
you.
come through. Yes.
I've never known a fandom as jazzed to rally. So I have fingers crossed and I have hopes. And it would mean so much, but we'll see. So support is very, very thanked.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It was so nice to meet you in person. I feel like you need to embrace your Bejeweled era. Like, you're the best thing at this party. This book is going to be the best thing at this party. It's going to be amazing. We can't wait to have our copies, and we're so excited, especially like Ryan said, because we came into our Taylor fandom, in our opinion, late bloomers. I'm excited to especially see some of the earlier eras where like we weren't as dialed into everything she was doing. So
thanks. That really means heartwarms. Soft means a lot. Thank you.
Swifties are so cool, man. So talented.
Yep.